In fact, I'll bet you anything that when this committee hears all the testimony from everybody and we're all finished and done with the storytelling of how this happened, we're going to find out that this was all planned in advance. And I mean way in advance, like in September, just in case Trump lost. And I'll bet you that this was the plan that Trump was going to execute on if he had lost to Hillary. And that is why he kept saying during the run-up to the first election in 2016, he'll let us know what happens if he loses. But he kept saying the election would be rigged in 2016. Rigged, right? Kept on planting that seed like a little Johnny Appleseed, planting the seed, and then he won. And we were all sitting there going, well, I thought it was rigged. He said it was rigged, but now that he won, it's not rigged, and he never mentioned it again until the lead up to 2020. And then it started all over again. The accusations, pointing the finger, it's rigged, just in case he lost. And he did. And we're going to find out that this plan was the plan in 2016 that was rehatched and relaunched in 2020 in September. Ahead of the election. But today, we heard about the dates of January 2nd through January 7th, 5 days in the White House. And it was hair-raising. It was mind-blowing. What we learned today was pretty basic stuff. What we learned today was exactly, what we thought happened, but didn't really know the order of things or who knew what, and did the president understand? And we also learned that those protesters, the Oath Keepers, the Proud Boys, the people that showed up with tactical gear and helmets and walkie-talkies and all of that, they were armed. They were armed with everything, pistols and AKs and ARs. They had everything. And the only thing that kept them from going to the ellipse, kept them from going to the Stop the Steal rally, was magnetometers, and that the magnetometers were catching people the night before, trying to bring weapons into the January 6th, what they called the arena, the ellipse. And Donald Trump was briefed on this. Donald Trump knew that they were armed. He understood that they had brought weapons. He understood that they were wearing helmets and tactical gear, that they had bear spray and flagpoles and guns. He understood all of it. He was briefed. He was briefed by the Secret Service. The guy who sat across the hall from Mark Meadows and Cassidy Hutchinson. The guy whose office it was directly across the hall was in charge of the president's protection and the protection of anybody who fell under Secret Service protection. He briefed the president. He told the president. He told him on January 6th that there would be violence, and that the night before there had been arrests for weapons and ammo, and that the people who came had pepper spray and firearms and ARs and Glocks and all kinds of weapons and ammunition. And the president didn't care. He knew that they were armed. And backstage at the Stop the Steal rally, he was upset because the magnetometers were catching armed people. And the rally itself was not well attended because of the magnetometers and the amount of weapons that were being brought into the ellipse. And Donald Trump said, because they have weapons, they're not being allowed in, get rid of the magnetometers. Get rid of those. Let them in. They're not here to hurt me. And then we'll march to the Capitol. So he wanted them armed when they marched to the Capitol. Before January 6th, the night before, when people were being arrested with weapons, and he was briefed, before that even, on January 4th, the Capitol Police sent out a warning that said that the Proud Boys and the Oath Keepers had planned to be in Washington for January 6th, and that they had learned that the target of their ire, the target of their violence, was not going to be counter-protesters at all. It wasn't going to be Antifa or any of your imaginary enemies of the Proud Boys or the Oath Keepers, but the target was the Capitol itself. That is what was written down in a memo authored by the Capitol Police, that they planned to be in Washington and Congress itself was the target.